Kia ora, this is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor as well as education advisor, coming live once again from Hamilton. Not my usual day to come live from New Zealand or from Hamilton, but these are completely unprecedented times, and so things have been changing so rapidly in response to the COVID-19 pandemic across the world. So I decided I'm going to come live today and speak to all our AGB clients and stakeholders. And so I'm coming live on Facebook and YouTube as always, and also on Instagram. So I hope everybody is able to follow this particular broadcast from Hamilton, New Zealand. So yeah, it's I think I'm a 51-year-old guy who's seen a fair bit of life, and this is the first time I have experienced something of this magnitude, where the entire world is battling something called COVID-19, which stands for Coronavirus Disease 2019, because that's when it started. And I think the whole world is gearing up for fighting this particular thing. So in New Zealand, we were also monitoring, the situation quite closely, and the government has been taking some very proactive steps to try and contain this virus, because it seems to be growing exponentially at different places, and I think we in New Zealand are already afforded the luxury of being an island nation at the bottom of the Pacific. And so, in certain ways, I think we already have some amount of a natural protection and a natural border, which doesn't allow things to permeate or spread very quickly. But we all do live in a modern age and modern era where planes and jet flights can take you from one place to another very, very quickly. So in that sense, New Zealand is probably not immune, but the geographic distance from the rest of the world does offer a little bit of a cushion for us, I guess, for lack of a better word. So anyhow, so the government has been tracking this quite carefully, and I think we are all aware of, I think, of the situation that evolved first out of China, and then I think the Iran became quite a big epicenter, and of course it then moved to Europe, and Italy, I think, had a fair bit of issue, and I think they're still battling with it. And possibly the government of New Zealand was studying the situation of how it spread to Europe, and how early preventive measures could not arrest this particular virus in Italy. So I think they've learned from it, and they're kind of taking good, strong steps to arrest this and help New Zealand and possibly the rest of the world as well. So a few days back, the government took a decision to let people into the country, and but as long as they were going to self-isolate themselves for 14 days. And so we did get some of our students and clients who were still able to get into New Zealand and then went into self-isolation. But today evening, I was watching the news on our national channels, and the Prime Minister came live, and so she said that effective tonight, we are at about 10:35 p.m. in New Zealand today, but I think effective tonight from 11:59 p.m., which is starting off tomorrow, the government has decided to shut the borders for all people who are going to come into New Zealand, except for, I guess, partners and children of New Zealand citizens and residents. So that's the little exception they've made. Earlier, they had an exception to make for people coming from the Pacific countries, but I think they've also clamped down on that as well. with today's announcement in the news from the Prime Minister. So that leaves a lot of people in limbo. So everybody who's supposed to enter New Zealand on a temporary work on a temporary visa, like a work visa or a student visa or a tourist visa, and any other kind of temporary visa, is effectively not going to be allowed to enter New Zealand after 11:59 tonight. So for those people already on a plane and entering New Zealand before 11:59, they will be met by officials at the airport, and I guess some level of testing would be done before they are brought into the country or allowed into the country, and they will be, of course, asked to go into self isolation. But anybody coming after 11:59, which effectively is tomorrow, which starts at midnight today, they are going to turn them away. And I'm sure the air traffic controllers have already sent these messages to all those flights which are on their way to New Zealand, but will not arrive here before midnight today. So, I think so they will probably be asked to turn around and just go back to their destination. So, or to the origin destination. So, I think that's what is going to happen. So, this does, of course, leave a lot of our clients in limbo as to what is going to happen to them. So I'm going to address AGV clients who are past, present, and future clients of AGV. And as a proactive, responsible company who's always cared for all of you, I want to give the message that I'm going to first talk about the past students who are already here, the present students who are, having their visa applications being processed through us, and future students, who haven't started their process but have had, have made plans to come to New Zealand, maybe in July or August or September, and yeah, are wondering, do I still go ahead with my plans? Right. So let's first get to the past students. So those AJV students and clients who are already in New Zealand, I guess, all you guys and girls are already aware of all the measures that the government has instructed all of us here in New Zealand to take. So please adhere to these instructions, even if it's somebody who has already arrived into New Zealand and is in self isolation. Please continue to adhere to the instructions from the government. The government has set up a special website called covid19.govt.nz, and that is one of the most authentic sources of information for you as to what you need to do. And I already told in my last session that any AJV student who has arrived or client who has arrived and is in self isolation, just talk to us and we will gladly lend whatever support we can to you, even if it means that some of us have to come and leave food or medicines or other essential supplies outside your doorstep without jeopardizing your health or our health. We are happy to do that. We have kicked in, and that is the advantage of coming into New Zealand as an AGV client, because we will give you that support. I don't care which remote part of New Zealand you are in. We will, if you're in an emergency, call our 0800 number 0800 and one of us, even if it means I have to drive the whole night and be there in your town and provide you with that support, we will do that. Okay, so that's for those who are already in New Zealand, which is the past. Now coming to the present. So there are some students, and my team has specifically asked me to talk about two of our students who are on the verge of coming to New Zealand, and these clients are about to come to a place called Auckland Institute of Studies, and so yeah, so these two students who had booked their tickets unfortunately will not be able to come into New Zealand now. Just give me a moment. I'm going to scroll up to that part where my team had given me some instructions about. Okay, so this message is specifically for Karan and Sakshi. Karan and Sakshi, I know you were, looking at coming into New Zealand. on I think both of you were booked to fly around the 22nd, but unfortunately, you will have to delay your plans now because the government has shut the borders, so you will not be allowed to enter New Zealand. So Karan and Sakshi, specifically coming straight from me, please cancel your tickets and hang in there, and we will talk to the institution and find out from them. So what's going to happen next, and we will come back to you very quickly. But I can assure you, you will not be allowed to enter New Zealand at this point in time. So yeah, very unfortunate, Karan and Sakshi, but both of you will have to cancel your tickets and do it quickly so that you don't lose too much money on them. Don't panic, because this is of course something that's beyond the control of the government of New Zealand or the institution or AJV. So it's something, and I'm sure you're both grown up and have the understanding to know that this is something that went completely out of control, not because of any one single department or company, but it's just something that spiraled out of control very quickly and very suddenly in New Zealand in the last 48 hours. Okay, so specifically for Sakshi and Karan, hang in there, cancel your tickets, and tomorrow we will talk to AIS and ask them what are the next steps, and we will convey it back to you. And a lot of institutions in New Zealand are considering to start online classes. So we will see how the situation evolves. Of course, you guys and girls did not sign up to sit in your home countries and take online classes from New Zealand universities or institutions. You wanted to be in New Zealand and experience this beautiful country. So I completely understand that. And you paid a lot of good money for, like having that experience. But because of the current situation around the world, of course, that's probably not a possibility. So cancel your tickets, sit tight, hang in there. Going forward to the future students, and the future students who are already in the process of applying for intakes in New Zealand for April, May, June, or July, August, September, my suggestion to you is do not stop your process, because at this point in time, we don't know when the cure is going to be there. We don't know when the vaccine is going to be there. It might happen very quickly. It might happen in a couple of months. It might take longer than that. Nobody is able to predict that right now, including the World Health Organization. But just as somebody who's gone through a lot of experiences in life, and just as the elder mentor to all of you, I would like to tell you that, do not change your plans, because, nothing has changed for you. You're still in your country. You're still going on with your job and your life and, with your family. All you're doing is sharing documents with Team AJV and Team AJV. All of us are, thankfully, we evolved this beautiful system where we don't have to meet you in person, or we don't have to shut down offices. We are still able to function at 100% capacity. So you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Continue your process. For all we know, something might crop up as a solution and as a vaccine and as a cure over the next couple of months, which means you will still be prepared to come to New Zealand in the next few months. So do everything, prep yourself, give us all the documents. Let's get your visa application ready and wait to see how the situation evolves. And the moment they say, hey, look, all clear, good to go, we will launch those visa applications. I promise you, we will ensure that you will not lose any money. So we will create your entire visa application. At the end of the day, we also need to have work to do. So send us all your documents. There's no money you're spending. You're not paying anything to AJV. You're not paying any visa application fees to Immigration New Zealand. You're not giving any money to the institutions to give you your offer letter. So because there is no money involved, it's just your time and effort. Continue to process, continue to talk to your AJV officers, and we'll bring it to a point where we are ready with your entire application, and just waiting to lodge it the moment Immigration New Zealand tells us, hey, look, it's all clear. We are back to business as usual. So that's my sincere advice to everybody. And then my team also asked me to talk about a few other things, like Ruben wanted me to talk about the fact that Immigration New Zealand's Beijing, Mumbai, and Manila offices are temporarily closed, and INZ remains. And the statement says that INZ remains committed to minimizing the impact on visa processing times, and that's a fact because INZ has got offices all around the world, including here in New Zealand, and I think they have a beautiful system where if one particular office has to close down, like this unprecedented time of the coronavirus or COVID-19, they are able to quickly transfer that load onto another office. So I don't think it's going to affect, just as a precautionary measure in countries where there is a slightly higher incidence of the virus, they are kind of shutting down those offices. So don't worry. INZ itself has said that there is no impact on the processing times. The other thing that Ruben wanted me to touch upon was that INC cannot extend visa durations, visa fees, or levies paid for completed applications will not be refunded or deferred for another visa. You may withdraw an undecided application. Again, as I said, this was a statement that was made before today's declaration of border closure. But INC is a very understanding organization. I've worked with them for more than 15 years now, and they're good people. They're kind people. They understand that situation has changed, and if it means that refunds have to be effected, they will refund. So again, my suggestion is do not withdraw your applications. Let it stay in the system, and we will see how it can progress from there. As a policy, AJB will not charge anything from any of you who are planning to, who are already in the process, or those of you who are planning to apply, except for whatever fees that you've got to pay to INC, which is not a lot in the bigger scheme of things. So just hang in there. What else? My team also wanted to talk about. Okay. Right. So just about the whether the flights are on the way to New Zealand or not, Ruben has also come out with a good piece of information. He says that all affected foreign travelers must have checked in for their flight to New Zealand by this time, which is 23:59 on Thursday, 19th March 2020, which is today. So as long as you had checked in before this time, you're good. I think they'll let you come and land in the country, and officials will come and meet you, and probably a bit of testing will happen to ensure that there is no sickness being brought in. Yeah. So what else? Right. I'm now trying to read some of the queries. I was just rolling out. So, guys, bad situation for all of us. Unprecedented situation in my 51 years. I haven't seen anything like this. A lot of you are a lot younger than me, and probably it's the first time. People are saying that possibly the last time that something like this happened must have been during the Second World War. So, yeah, this is a very unprecedented time. So, we'll all need to fight this together. Some questions coming in, and there is Syed Fuzail who says, "Hi Arun, hope you're well. I want to know, I guess, if students can travel or they've been banned as well." Thank you. As I told you, Syed, if as long as you were checked in before midnight today, you would still be allowed to come in. And thanks for asking. I'm doing all right. No problems at all. I did go out in the evening to stock up on some food at home just in case. No, I'm not in panic mode, but just in case, in case we need to spend the next few weeks at home. I do have three children, hungry growing children, so I want to make sure there's enough food at home. Anik Ragbanchi says, "Hello, Ron. Hope all well. Just saw the news on complete New Zealand border closure." Yes, thanks, Anik, for asking. Yeah, that's right. And I think what the government is doing is a very smart thing. That's my personal opinion. Is that they're doing a very smart thing, because I think Italy, I think, didn't take it as seriously as they should have, and which is the reason the number of cases spiked. But for us in New Zealand, not only do we have the luxury of a natural border of being an island nation, but government is very proactive, and they have absolutely kicked into top gear, and they are doing everything possible. They've also announced some fantastic support, scheme for businesses who might get affected and stuff like that. So very happy to be in New Zealand right now, as a New Zealander, I think this government is doing everything to protect the interests of New Zealanders as well as people, who were intending to travel, because we didn't want you to come in and contract something, or spread it to people here. So I think as of last count, we had 28 cases in New Zealand, and all of them were from people who had traveled overseas and came back to New Zealand. So thankfully, we still don't have a public outbreak of this virus. So I think the government is doing a very good job at this point in time. Okay, right. Shavik Banerjee says, "Hello, Arun. I'm Shavik. Both me and my wife are AGV clients. It's great to see your prompt response to come live and interact with us. Thanks, Shavik. That's the whole idea of we at AGV, is that I keep saying we are the friendly and frank advisors, and that's the reason I will not hesitate to come live and speak to all of you out there. So, uh, if needed, it indeed is very reassuring and truly appreciated. With the economy is in trouble and New Zealand dollar not doing so well, do you see any fee changes for students with already having an offer of place? Actually, a good point, Shavik, because when a shop is in distress, they will go into discount sales because they want to liquidate their stock and get whatever cash they can into the system so that they have their cash flows intact. So is the case with an institution or a university, is because their stock is the number of seats they have that they have to fill every year. So I guess they will do it, but very early for me to comment on it, Shavik. So I think, but you potentially could be very right, and you could be one of those smart guys who's already predicting this way ahead of anybody else. So good call, Shavik, and thank you so much for appreciating what we are trying to do. We are trying to talk to our clients regularly and honestly and truthfully. I mean, I can tell you that, life is just normal here in New Zealand for us. There is a little bit of panic buying at the supermarkets. So people are stocking up on stuff like toilet tissues and hand sanitizers and paper towels and rice and pasta and painkillers. Strangely enough, they're buying paracetamol and Panadol and those kinds of things. So, yeah, so these are some of the things that are happening. But by and large, the country is peaceful. There is no outbreak of panic. I can tell you that because I just went out a couple of hours ago and came back home, and then I got into this live session. So it's all quite normal at this stage. We did have a meeting in the morning tomorrow, and I kind of requested all these people in the meeting to see if we can do a Skype instead, or we could do a Zoom meeting instead. So those are the kind of things that we are trying to do. Okay, Harish Krishnan says, "Hi Arun, I'm an AGVN and I'm attempting for July intake. I'm currently in the process of working on funds. I want to confirm if it's still a good idea to proceed with the July intake, as the visa timelines are sure to get impacted. And I wanted to avoid a situation where I have AIP and yet I'm unable to proceed with the admission timelines as the visa gets delayed. Thus, should I be opting for a November intake or a February intake? Look forward to your expert guidance, please. Thank you." Hey, Harish, thanks for your query. Lovely query, by the way. I think it's a very valid query. And as I told you, act like it is business as usual. Do not change anything because, like I said, Harish, you're not spending any money with us or with INZ or with the institution. Continue to proceed with it. Maybe hold off on your medicals till there is a clear from the government of New Zealand, because medicals have a particular validity, and the police clearance certificate also has a particular validity. So maybe you just hold off on those two, but again, it's not a lot of money. Your IELTS will be valid for 2 years, your medicals will be valid for a few years. It's only the police clearance certificate which might have to be done because it's only valid for 6 months. So I'd say continue with the process like it was just a routine thing, because, hey, look, I have a lot of faith in the scientific community of the world, and they have fought much larger issues before. They have fought AIDS, they have fought Ebola virus, they have fought the plague, they have fought so many different things before. And, I'm sure right now as we speak, I think scientists are in overdrive across the world in different institutions and different research centers trying to find a cure for this. So I think, I mean, again, I could be completely wrong. It's just that I personally think by the time we come around to the July intake, things should settle down. And people and governments and companies and institutions will evolve to address this particular situation. So I think they will find certain solutions. So continue with the process because you're not spending any money at all at this stage. Let's build a file and keep it ready, but let's not file it unless there is complete clarity from the Immigration Department of New Zealand. So not only to Harish, but to everybody else who are AGV clients who are working on their visa applications for or admissions for July. Continue like it is normal, and let's work on it. And you're not coming to our offices or meeting us. We evolve this beautiful online system. So, just continue with it. Let's create it and keep it all ready. And when we get the green signal, let's file it. If there is no green signal, we will defer it to the next intake. All right, cool. Okay, man, I didn't expect so many questions, but it seems to be quite a few questions today. Okay, there's a question from Smita Agnihotri who says, hi, Arun. Thanks to your team, my visitor visa has been approved for 3 months. My husband is a resident. How early or late can I fly to New Zealand without any hassles? Smita, unfortunately, if you have not already booked your flight to New Zealand before midnight today, then unfortunately you will have to wait because they have put a closure on the border. So I would say keep an eye on this website called covid19.govt.nz, and the government will keep giving updates, and of course also keep following the immigration website, and of course keep following the AJB Facebook page and group, and we will continue to give you um, updates. But unfortunately, if you had not booked or your if you're sorry not booked, if you were not checked in onto your flight by midnight today, unfortunately you will not be allowed to enter the country till the situation is reviewed. All right. Okay, I'm going to quickly check with my team to see if they have been giving right. Okay, so I have answered Shawakes, I have answered Anik. uh Vedavali Idupuganti says he was traveling on April 4th. So, Vedavali, you will have to drop your plans and wait for confirmation from the government of New Zealand when you can come into the country. So, please go ahead and cancel your ticket. Um, who else? Uh, Right. So there is also a suggestion from my colleague Neha, who says, please talk about the impact on partners of New Zealand residents and citizens. Even though they can travel, however, they should refrain from travel. And Neha says we can always write to INZ to change the first entry date for partners. And yeah, good suggestion, Neha. And for all those of our clients, partners of residents and citizens, yes, please, if you have not checked in for travel, to the by tonight, you potentially could travel because you are the partner of a New Zealand resident or citizen, because they have made that exception. But then you will go into quarantine and you will go into the self isolation and all those kinds of things. So, if possible, try and delay your travel, and also we keep checking with your AGV officer, and we will try and change your first entry date. All right. So that's something that we can work, for towards. Ruben suggests that the most significant peacetime economic plan in modern New Zealand history to cushion the impact of COVID-19 in the fight to support Kiwi jobs in the domestic economy from the virus. So this is called the economic response package. This will ensure the economy does not tumble while health is a priority. I think that's a very good point. So the government has kicked in with all the money that it has in its reserves, and being a government of an independent, sovereign, democratic nation, if required, it can also borrow more money. So I think, yeah, what the government is doing right now is prioritizing the health of the population, and also those people who are on temporary visas inside New Zealand. So I think that's what they are doing, and they're pumping in a lot of money into the economy so that jobs are sustained. Of course, there will be loss of jobs, but they are doing. I think this is, like Ruben rightly highlighted, this is the most significant peacetime economic plan in modern New Zealand history. But I think again, it's not just specific to New Zealand. I'm sure a lot of other countries are doing. But suddenly when we are hit by situations like this, all those things that people perceive as a disadvantage for New Zealand, which is how far we are from the rest of the world and how small our population is, suddenly becomes an advantage. The tables turn, and so for us, the geographic isolation actually becomes a blessing in disguise. And the smaller population means that the government can take care of all of us here. So all this become a big advantage for us. Mm. Yeah, so Ruben also goes on to say that exceptions can be made on a case-by-case basis by Immigration New Zealand for the holder of a visitor visa who is the partner of dependent of a temporary work or student visa holder and who normally lives in New Zealand and is currently in New Zealand. So INZ will have the discretion. So if you are the partner of a temporary work visa holder, like a student visa holder or a work visa holder, INZ might still make an exception and do a few things. Um, there's a question from Pooja Prashant who says, I applied file of partnership work visa. I wanted to confirm what is the effect of that and what is the time they taken for decision. Uh, yeah, so Pooja, because you're already present in New Zealand, according to what the information my team gives me, because if you're already in New Zealand, I think you'll be all right because hey, look, right now the borders are shut down, so you can't go in or out of New Zealand. So I mean, Immigration New Zealand will work on your file, and and if they're not shutting down the offices here, of course, so they will work on it. But look, long as the situation continues and the government itself has come out with a rule where you can't go in or out of the country, I think you'll be fine. And like I said, INZ is a caring, kind, honest organization, and they will understand this situation. So this is a very unprecedented situation, a bit like 9/11, where America suddenly had to get up for an entirely different country, and likewise with this COVID-19, all of us are gearing up for an entirely different world. So, and people in power and people in decision making situations will come out with the right measures. So, but we all need to give it some time. In the meantime, probably the best thing that all of us can do is to just isolate ourselves and not spread it from person to person, because that's the way this particular virus seems to be spreading. So which is where I'm very happy that at AGV we have already evolved a process, and where we actually do pretty much everything online, and which means that our work doesn't get interrupted, and you guys can continue to pursue that dream. And so unlike working with a company where you physically have to go to an office and submit your documents or meet somebody, we are there with you. Look at me right now. I'm sitting in Hamilton, New Zealand, and still speaking to you guys and girls, and giving the on the ground information from Hamilton and tell you that it's all fine. We are not panicking, nothing is happening. There is a little bit of food being purchased and toilet papers being purchased, but other than that, it is just life as normal. And schools are still running, universities are still running, all those kinds of things. But the government is also kind of fighting this on a war footing. uh, Another query from and a suggestion from my colleague Anne D'Souza, who's talking about Anshul Tachel Francis for a June 2020 intake for level 4 and 5 course. And Sajita is the advisor, and the loan is in process. Hey Anshul, my recommendation is continue with it. Which is what I already mentioned previously as well. Just go on with it. Like I think it's human nature to panic and sort of take a few steps backward. But I was just sharing with my team in the evening, saying when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So that's the kind of attitude I think we need to have while being commons, while exhibiting a common sense approach. So Anshul, as long as you're in your sitting at home or wherever you are, and you have access to a computer and a internet connection, we can still transact with you, and let's get your application done and prepared. We'll bring it to the point where it is ready to be filed, but we will hold on to it till INC gives us a go ahead and says, you know what, it's business as usual. The borders are opened up again, and you can come back. And I was like, I'm reiterating one more time. I have massive confidence in the scientific community of this world. If this community could put a man on the moon, and I think it's only 10 or 15 years before they'll put a man on Mars, and send man to different parts of the solar system. I think they can pretty much deal with situations here on Earth. And I think we just need to give it some time, because this is all something very recent. It's only 3 months, but I mean, if you look at China, where it started, there are hardly any new cases being reported. So they've already sort of learned how to deal with it, and I'm sure they're sharing that knowledge and information with the rest of the world. So I'm honestly not perturbed at all. I was having a chat with my kids as well, and I was telling them, hey, look, worst case scenario, it's a holiday for all of us to sit at home and spend some good quality family time together, while I continue to work, because all I need is this laptop and an internet connection and all my beautiful team members. And talking about my team members, guys, this is just business as usual for all of us, and we will continue to work with the same AJB ethos, pride, and joy in our hearts. And aren't you all glad that we all sit at home and work already, and we have this beautifully well created system and process where we can all sit and work from home? So absolutely nothing to be worried about. I'm going to quickly go back to Facebook and see if I missed anything else. Right, Bill says, appreciate your commitment to your clients. Great trust building, Arun and team. Thank you. Hey, look, guys, that's what it's all about, Bill. Because in these moments, they want to hear from somebody who's knowledgeable and trustworthy, and present in the situation, and that's what I am. I'm present in New Zealand, and I have the knowledge, the first-hand knowledge. Thankfully, I also have some good friends in very senior levels in government, so I also keep talking to them. But more than anything else, I'm just a guy who lives in New Zealand. And for those of you who are planning to come to New Zealand are already here, who better than us to give you? But I appreciate your comment. Um, Puneet Anand asked, by when can we expect to hear that this condition has been resolved? I wish I were a scientist, Puneet. Can't say. Eric says hi Arun. This is Eric. I'm an AGV student and have been waiting for my student visa to be processed since I applied on 26 February. I've also got to know that INC Mumbai is temporarily closed, so visa won't be issued for now. Secondly, if I do not make the 4 May batch at NMIT, would my application be transferred to the next batch on 13 July? Absolutely, Eric. I think like I said, this is a situation which is so much beyond the control of INZ and NMIT and AGV as well, for that matter. So what we are doing is we are communicating, openly and honestly with all of you and telling you this. But I'm absolutely, and in fact, I received an email from the senior, international manager at NMIT, who wanted to come and see me on the 26th of March in my office in Hamilton. And I told him, is it a good idea? Because the government is advocating that we don't do our social interactions, and instead do online interactions. And he said, okay, let's talk closer to the date. So yeah, absolutely, Eric. And you guys have already experienced the kind of level of service that we provide, and the integrity with which we do our work. I promise you, we'll be on the phone to each and every institution, and every case which is with us currently, we will get to the bottom of it. And especially for Karan and Sakshi, who got their visas in place and booked their tickets and were supposed to fly in very, very soon. That's probably the most trying situation for them. So Karan and Sakshi, I will personally get on the phone to AIS tomorrow and ask them what is the steps that they're putting into place to address this particular situation. So likewise for you, Eric, continue, hang in there. Let your visa application be there, and let's see what happens out of it, and then we will take it from there. All right, cool. In the meantime, of course, stay safe. All right. Okay. Who else? Rahul Angel says, what about for those whose visa already lodged? Hang in there, Rahul. That's all you need to do. Kevin says, yeah, Ron, doing the same thing, arranging final documents and forwarding them to Anne. Well done, Kevin. That's the kind of spirit we require at this point, my friend. Because let's not act like it's the end of the world because it is not. And unless somebody eventually tells us that is the end of the world. But yeah, keep going forward, Kevin. Let's not take steps backward. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Remember that, guys. Okay, that's actually, by the way, a beautiful song by Billy Ocean. So you guys can Google it and listen to it. Okay. Pooja Prashant, I've already answered. Srikant Krishnamurthy, my top fan. Thank you for coming live, Arun. Can't explain anything better than this, addressing the situation crystal clear, nicely for past, present, and future students. Team AJB is always proactive and supportive. Thanks, Srikant. Appreciate your comments as well as always. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, like I said, we have learned to harness technology and continue to do our business irrespective of what's happening in the rest of the world. So hey, look, we just probably we were ahead of the curve, and unlike a lot of these cliched, typical companies which open up branches after branches after branches, we have a bunch of 41 or 42 beautiful people who sit in different parts of the world, and all we require is a computer and a internet connection, and we're still progressing the aspirations of our clients and of us as a company as well. So thanks, Srikant. Appreciate your comments. Neha Journal says, hello, sir. We are AGB clients. My husband has a partner of a student work visa with no last entry date and visa expires in June 2021. Will his visa continue to remain valid even under these changed circumstances? That is, will he be able to travel as soon as the things normalize? Thank you. Hey, look, Neha, if the restrictions stay in place till the end of June, of course, we will have to approach INZ, and our team will do it for you. Don't worry about it. And we will say, hey, look, was the situation, and this person got caught in this travel ban. So I'm sure they'll take a lenient view of it. So don't worry too much about it, Neha. And thanks for dropping by to the office the other day and giving us those lovely gifts. Much appreciated. Anik Ragmanshu says, thanks, Arun. Good to hear all well at your end. Yeah, absolutely good, Anik. Yeah, hail and hearty and laughing and cracking my stupid jokes as always. So, yeah, everything is absolutely, like I said, I was laughing actually when I went there. I went with my wife to a grocery store to buy some stuff in the evening, and I saw all these people buying stuff and putting it into the cart. So I was actually laughing, saying, my God, look at people panicking already and stuff like that. But I think I could laugh, not to demean the situation, but because I live with the confidence that I live in one of the most well governed, one of the most well administered countries on earth, and I know this government and the people and the bureaucrats and general society at large will all kick in and overcome this crisis. That's the beauty of living in a country like New Zealand, because I live with that 100% assurance that we will take care of each other. The government will take care of us. We will take care of the government, and we will take care of our visitors and our clients and everybody else. So yeah, I look very happy to be in New Zealand, and like I said, they're going at this bloody virus. Okay, I finally used the word bloody in one of my live sessions, but yeah, they're going to go after this bloody virus on a war footing. And once that is done, I think New Zealand will be one of the safest countries, on a comparison with any other place. Okay, cool. Puneet Anand, hi Arun. Just curious that for how much time they have sealed the border. No idea, Puneet. I'm not in the government, so I wouldn't know. We'll have to just all wait and watch. And Neha comes back and asks also, will the following exceptions be applicable on time? This is the exceptions can be made on a case by case basis by Immigration New Zealand for the holder of a visitor visa. Yes, Neha. Again, like I said, they can only make the exception when we approach INZ, and then INZ comes back and says, yeah, okay, we're willing to make an exception. But under the present circumstances, I don't think they will be making any exceptions. So I think it's best just to hang in there for a little while. Give them some time, Let's give it all some breathing space, and then we will take it forward from there. All right? Yeah. Okay. Whew. Hiramone Medi asked me, I have received my partnership-based work visa on 17th March. I really appreciate the work. Okay, thanks for that. I'm a bit confused when I should plan to fly. Could you help me with this? You can't fly if you were not already checked in before midnight today. So Hiramone, you just have to wait for further instructions from the government of New Zealand, and you will have to follow this website called covid19.govt.nz and the immigration website, and they'll keep giving you updates about what's going to happen. Okay, Christina said my student visa is in the process. What will happen to it? Nothing. It will go through its process, and if they have to shed the borders longer, I'm sure they'll defer it to the next one. If they decide to reopen before your intake starts, I think it'll be business as usual. Okay, cool. Okay, right, there's something from Meran, but I can't comment on that. Niranjan. Okay, Niranjan is one of our AJV clients. This was, hey guys, I mean, not to sound selfish, but this session was mainly for AJV students, past, present, and future. So, I mean, please don't mind if I let go of some of your queries and jump to my AJV clients and my AJV students. And I sound like a possessive dad, but that's what I am. I'm AJV student working with Ms. Mubaraka. Your thoughts on New Plymouth PIMS Masters and Hospitality Management. I'm looking for 2021 Feb intake. I love this guy. Niranjan, I love you, my friend. You are the guy who was already looking ahead and knowing that it will all be normal and that you will be present in New Zealand. I love that optimism, Niranjan. Well done. If I could whistle, I would whistle, but but yeah, good stuff. That's the kind of normalcy we all need to exhibit. So well done, Niranjan. Yeah, PIMS is a good institution. It stands for Pacific Institute of Hotel Management Studies. And if you're looking at 2021 Feb intake, I think by the time this whole COVID-19 will be a thing of the past. It'll just be part of history, and we will all be, looking back upon it and say, oh, we all went through that particular phase. But well done, Niranjan. Good institution. And you're also working with one of our best advisors, Mubaraka. All the best, and I'll see you here in Feb 2021. All right. Anshul, I have already asked. Okay, Anshul, okay, I'm quickly going to go back to my team to say if any of my team has given me any inputs, nothing at this point. So Anshul says, hey, Arun, I'm an AGV client. Hey, Anshul, hello from Hamilton. All good, all clear, no worries here. We're all just hale and hearty, no problems here in New Zealand at the moment, except that our borders are closed. My course at WIT starts on June 22nd. Wanted to know by when should I pay the college fees? Anshul, it will not be right for me to advise when to pay the college fees because I think we need to wait for that intimation to come from the college because then the college will, kind of, because they would also have their own internal processes of understanding what the situation is. And so let's wait for them to give an intimation. And normally, you also have to pay your fees only after you get your AIP, which is your approval in principle. So we'll have to wait to see. So it's really not WIT that will dictate when you have to pay the fees, but INZ, which is Immigration New Zealand. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But hey, look, just continue with your application, and let's just keep going from there. Harish says, thank you so much for taking up my query. You're welcome, Harish. And it says, I feel really confident to proceed with my application every time I chat with an AJV team member. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your feedback. And it says, I appreciate all the efforts that are being taken up by your wonderful team. Best regards. Really appreciate it. And it specifically mentions Anne and Sajita. Hey, Harish, that's the kind of people we are. Harish, sure, we run a business, but at the end of the day, we are just ordinary people like you, good human beings who want to help our fellow human beings. Yeah, in the process, of course, we would like to build a profitable company and and have a good life, but not at the expense of our students. And that is the reason, myself and the rest of our team, we do not mind, coming and doing these live sessions and giving you guys and girls the confidence that you're working with somebody who will take care of you. But thank you so much for your feedback. Much appreciated. And well done, Anne and Sujita. Pooja Prashant, I think I've already answered. Pooja, I think I've already answered your question. Neil George, is Neil one of our? Okay, yeah, he does mention that he's talking to Noella, my colleague. So hi, he says, "Hi, Arun, sir. I've been admitted for the July intake at University of Waikato. Fantastic university, Neil. By the way, yeah, that's about 10 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. So yeah, Lydia is my counselor. My visa application is also done by Noella. Fantastic. I have put in my papers at my workplace as I have to serve a 2 months notice period. So probably May end would be my last days. What would be an ideal step to take here? what would be, are there any dates on which INC would give a further update on border closure? Should I be taking my papers back as there is no certainty as of now? Okay, Neil, it's not a bad idea to take your papers back, Neil, because just because of the uncertainty around this whole thing, I don't want you to suddenly end up between the devil and the deep sea, as it is said, where you are suddenly without a job, nor are you able to come into New Zealand. So yeah, just from being a bit prudent about situations like this, it might make sense for you to take your papers back and be honest, talk to your employer and say, hey, look, I had this plans of going to New Zealand, but unfortunately with this whole COVID-19 situation worldwide and not just in New Zealand, countries are shutting down their borders. The other interesting thing, Neil, is even if New Zealand opens its borders, the country where you're in right now may not open its borders for people to travel outside. That's what has happened in New Zealand as well. They are not allowing us to travel outside, nor are they allowing people from outside to travel into New Zealand. So it could be, not just New Zealand opening its borders, but it could also be the country where you're in that they are not opening their borders for outward travel. So because of this whole uncertainty and government decisions, which can take a while, and the fact that we're still trying to find a cure for this virus, maybe not such a bad idea to take your papers back and have an honest chat with your employer and say, hey, look, because of this reason, and tell them that you will serve your 2 months and notice as and when required. And from our side, what I will do, Neil, is we will work with you closely and ensure that you have that 2 months a notice period plus some buffer to be able to come into New Zealand. So that's the best we can do for you, Neil. So, but yeah, just as somebody who's got a bit more experience than a lot of my clients, I'd say, yeah, don't burn your bridges yet. Stay safe and continue to earn your money and good. Just have an honest discussion with your employer. All right, Neil. And from our side, we'll do whatever we can. Okay. Okay. So, Kevin, you said you're in the same situation, and I'd say I'd give you the same advice, Kevin. Okay. Okay. Parimala Pushpa says, hi, Arun. Thank you for taking the time to clarify our queries. Although slightly discouraged, we aren't disheartened. Thanks to constant reassurance from Sonia and the rest of the team, AJV team. I should be joining AUT in July to pursue PhD. Fantastic. So pursue, sorry, postgraduate diploma in food science, and we intend to travel as a family. So hoping that the chaos caused by virus is sorted and NZ borders are open to students soon. Hey, Parimala, thank you so much. And probably we require more people taking up your subject because apparently this whole virus started from food. So if there were enough food scientists like you to test it in the first place and then people start consuming, then it probably would have been a much better situation. But hey, moving away from that, we are disheartened as well, and but I don't know if I convey the fact that there is no iota of worry in me because at the end of the day, if you guys realize that our entire business of AJV depends on people being able to cross borders. If people cannot cross borders, we don't have a business. As simple as that. So, quite frankly, we should be, gutted right now, and we should be very disheartened, and we should be like, holding our heads and sitting in gloom. But hey, look, we're just good, positive people, and we know that all this will pass. So, thanks, Parimala, for sharing that good. Feedback that every time you talk to us that we give you a good confident feel, and that's why I came on line today. And if you see, I didn't even put on my normal AJV t-shirt. I said, no, I'm going to just sit and talk to all my clients and give them the confidence that things will become better because life is cyclical. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. So so is the case with the world because eventually the world is nothing but the collective life of all of us who live on this earth. So yeah, so I think it'll all be fine. Okay. But thank you so much for standing by your dreams. And thank you so much for also standing by AJB and continuing to be our clients. Continue to process your application just the way you normally would have done under other circumstances. We'll prepare it all and we will lodge it once we get the all clear from INZ. But I think it should be coming through. All right. Yeah. Okay, Warda Ibrahim. Hi, Jacob. Kira, I would like to apply for skill visa. Can your team help me or you handle only student visas? Kindly assist. Hey, Warda, we do all kinds of visas. I'm a full license holder, and also most of my colleagues who have licenses. We can help you with everything. So please share your number, and we will come back to you and see what we can do. I love your um, positive attitude as well. Nothing about coronavirus or anything, and you just already planning how we can move to New Zealand in the future. Okay. Koshi Kuti, what is the last date to apply for July intake post graduation study? Love it, Koshi. Excellent. See, you are also like not thinking about the immediate issue, but you're thinking ahead already. Lovely. Last date to apply for July. Do it now, Koshi. Get in touch with Team AJB. You have already shared your number, so one of my colleagues will get in touch and we will initiate the process for you. So let's proceed with it for whatever unfortunate reason that the border still doesn't open by July, then we will of course keep deferring it to the next intake. All right, cool. Thanks, Koshi, for sharing your number and being so positive. Much appreciated. I hope to see you here in New Zealand, but only as an AJV client. Okay. Pooja says thank you. So also thanks to you, Pooja, for joining in. Jagjot asked me when will the borders open. No idea, Jagjot. Harshi Gamage, hi sir. Thank you very much for the positive thoughts. You're welcome, Harshi. We have to stay positive in situations like this. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record, but when the going gets tough, the tough need to get going. And every dark cloud has a silver lining somewhere or the other. So yeah, not to stress too much about it. Okay, Sachin shared his number and says, "Can applying for student visa, even I already have a student visa rejection from the US. We don't care, Sachin, as long as the visa rejection was not for, character issues. So I think we'll still be happy to handle that for you. Thanks for sharing your number. One of our team will get in touch with you and we will take it forward from there. Okay. Kevin Lawrence says, I already launched my I think he meant to say lodged my visa 2 days through AJV. What are the problems which I could be facing now due to coronavirus? Kevin, I think the only problem is that you will have to probably wait a little longer. I don't know for which particular intake that you lodge your visa, Kevin, but if it was for July, I think we have enough time, so I don't think you have to worry about it. If it was for April, May, or June, I'm sure we will be able to defer it and get you into the next intake. And what's a few months? Here and there when you're planning on this life changing journey, so I don't think but hey, Kevin, thank you so much for choosing to be an AJV client. Much appreciated, my friend. Okay. Neha says my husband was set to travel next week. Unfortunate, Neha, but get in touch with your visa officer in AJV and we will write to immigration INZ and see if we can get that exception that they are talking about. Okay. Rakesh Yadav says, what is the condition of student visa during this coronavirus? I think there will be a delay. Benny says, I'm an HIV client. I got an offer from University of Canterbury and they have asked me to pay 1,500 to confirm the seat. What should I do? Should I pay the fees and proceed ahead with visa process? Absolutely, Bonnie. Like I said, go ahead and pay the fees and confirm your seat. Worst case scenario, if it is getting deferred, I give you my word, we will talk to University of Canterbury and have this money refunded for you. But let's all act and behave like it is business as usual. And in doing that, we bring some normalcy not only to ourselves but to the world at large. Okay, so let's all hang in there. Go for it, Bonnie. Pay the fees and reserve your seat because University of Canterbury is a fantastic institution and you should not lose your seat from a place like that. Go ahead and pay that money. Worst case scenario, we will ensure that that money comes back to you. Okay, we know some very senior people in Canterbury, and they're all good people. They understand that people will change their plans because of the way the world is spiraling out of control. So yeah, and New Zealand is also the second or the first the least corrupt country on earth. So we don't like to take other people's money and make merry out of it. We will give that money back if we feel that it needs to be given back to those people. All right. Okay. Cool. Hi, Aaron. Can I go ahead with filing my application? I've received my ETA. Is there going to be any delays with the product time? Yeah, go ahead, Guru Raj. That's what I just advised. And if you want specialist advice from us, get in touch with our licensed immigration advisor, Mary, who looks after these particular things. You haven't mentioned whether you are Okay. Niranjan says, thank you for answering my query, Arun. Much appreciated. May I please know your expert advice on employment prospects after completing Masters in Hospitality Management from PIMS? Yeah, absolutely. Fernando, I think this whole coronavirus thing is going to hit the hospitality industry a little hard. But the moment the borders open, I think it's going to come back up, surging very, very high. So, that's where I think you might actually have an opportunity. Traditionally, New Zealand is a country that has depended a lot on tourism, and which is why our hospitality industry has to be on par with global standards. So, of course, this coronavirus and the closure of the borders is going to hit the hospitality industry, but you're also not coming in anyway till the borders are open. The moment the borders are open, the tourists will come back, and also the opportunities for hospitality students as well. FEMS is a fantastic institution, strongly recommended, by the way. Divya says, I'm HB client. I have lodged visa for Master of Construction Management. Fantastic course, Divya. Last week, I have submitted my passport for verification as well for my husband and kid. We have lost the visa. What has to be done? Kindly advise. Nothing much, Divya. Just wait because I think Mumbai is actually kind of, I think they've kind of closed it down temporarily. So just hang in there. And as and when they reopen and send us an update, we will tell you. Like I said, this is not in AJV's control right now. So we'll have to wait for INZ to reopen and process the applications and give the go ahead. The moment we get it, we will talk to you as well. But if the application is already in process, just sit tight, hang in there, and enjoy your family time and just stay safe. That's all I can tell you. Neha says, thank you very much. Looking forward to receiving AJV's best support as always. And a special thank you for the session. So always there, Neha. I don't care how late it is in the night. If our clients require us, we will be there for them. Don't worry about that. Okay. And these are not just mere words. I swear I will come to your house in the middle of the night if you need us for anything. Okay. Yeah. Sudesh says, Sudesh asked a very technical question. Sudesh, I'm not sure if I can answer that question right now because I'm not even sure if you're our client. Okay. So I'm going to quickly flick back to my team and see if I have missed anything. My very caring colleague Jyoti is ringing the bell and telling me time is up. What to do, Jyoti? These are unprecedented times, so I can't stick to my 1 hour session. But yeah, looks like I covered everybody. It was a quick session, but guys, bottom line, these things come, these things will go. Don't change your life plans, don't change your future plans. The beauty of applying for New Zealand is that I think along with some other country like Israel, I think we are putting in some of the toughest measures to fight this bloody virus. And I think two things that people always used to slightly make fun of us New Zealanders, that we are very far away from everybody else on earth, and that our population is really small. It's actually our advantage now because it's difficult for viruses to travel across the open seas, and with a small population and a government that works with a surplus budget, we have enough money, and the government has come out with this beautiful economic package where they are also willing to pay employers to money so that they can sustain jobs in the. So yeah, I think overall I feel very happy to be a New Zealander tonight, and for all those of you who are also planning to become New Zealanders in future. Hang in there, stay patient, and I'm sure you will all be happy New Zealanders in future as well. All right. Thanks, guys, for giving me this opportunity to come and speak to you once again. I always like coming and speaking to all of you, and yeah, it's a pleasure. I wish it was under happier circumstances, but like I told you, at AJV, it is business as usual. Continue to speak to your AJV advisor or visa officer, or to me, or to Mary, or Nishanti, or Tanu, or anybody, and we'd be more than happy to continue to work with you and assist you with your New Zealand dreams. And the moment the borders are open, we will all get together, have a nice big party, and celebrate our life in New Zealand. All right. Good night. See you later, and please share this with your family and friends. Catch you later. Bye.